Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yash and today I'm doing an in-depth tutorial on a natural full coverage work/school makeup that you can do. I'm not gonna lie, it is a lengthy video. It is a lengthy process. It is a lengthy video. If I'm not talking, I can get this down in 20 minutes. But since I'm talking, there is a lot of time, but I hope you can enjoy, and I'm gonna stop yapping, so keep on watching. Starting off with brows, and I'm just going to spoolie my brows down, and I'm going for like more of a natural brow look these days, so I'm just letting it grow until I get a thread. After I spoolie it down, I just go through my sparse areas and I just lightly draw the lines. This is the Shiseido eyebrow pencil in the shade Black, and I know it looks a little bit intense right now, but don't worry, we're gonna use the same spoolie and just brush it upwards. It will still retain the darkness of the brows. It will just frame it in place like so. So I have like a fluffy brow look going on. I like to gel them towards the end of my makeup routine, so if my eyebrows are looking a little bit dark when I put all the powders, it would eventually become lighter. Then I'm gonna go in with an eye primer. It's the same MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot. I'm taking it on a Morphe M224 brush. It's one of the best eye primer concealer brush I've ever used. I wish I had more of them. And I will just pat that in on my eyelid. Give it an even coating by patting it in. And then just carve, take a little bit more, and just carve the under eye to make the under eye area look clean. And then just pat it in to blend it. Because my eye primer is quite old, so it's a little bit on the drier side. So even if you have a newer or more softer formula of this, remember the best way to use this eye primer is to pat it in. So even if you swipe it, like sometimes I'm doing it right now, after that I would just go on with pats. And then the other eye, you also want to remember that don't use too much. Just a thin coating will be nice, otherwise it tends to ball up, look cakey, get creasy. I just did use this color all over the eyelids and use my face powder to blend out the edges. You don't have to do this with a brown shade. You can do it with a lighter peach shade like this or a darker peach shade like this. Something along the lines of a neutral one or even a hot pink like this one, and you will get the same kind of effect. So maybe I will do a tutorial using these 3 shades of how to make color look more wearable next time. But today I just want something soft and something more natural, so that's why I go in with a brown. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this dark brown shimmer. It may look quite intense, but it will just bring the eye look a little bit together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flat shader brush. Yes, it has blue on it, but it's okay, because if you have used color on your shader brush and you don't have time to wash it, just go on a tissue like so until the blue kind of, it will not go away until you clean it, but it will get softer. So until your brush gets cleaner, just wipe it back and forth, and you can see that there's almost no blue when I'm wiping it on the tissue. So I'm gonna go in with this shade. I'm just picking it up on one side of the brush and what I'm going to do is now I'm just gonna place it in the inner corner of my eye, close to my lid. So this space that we see on our eyes, where you can see the color, that is where I'm gonna start patting it, just to give a little bit of shimmer. And I'm also patting it and bringing it closer to the middle. So this eye looks like I've put in a little bit more effort and it looks a little bit more shiny. So sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit more bold, I will bring it all the way across the lid. So you can see that this eye already is looking a little bit more open than this. So again, I'm gonna go in on one side of the brush, pick up the color and put it on this side. And I'm just putting it on the lid space. I'm not going higher than that. And I'm just using tapping motions instead of swiping or blending motions to make sure that I have control on where I am placing that shadow. Just like so. And just a little bit of color going on. Not a lot, you can barely see it. Makes a little bit of a difference. And then what I like to do is, before I do any of my face makeup, I like to take a makeup eraser. I would say it's one of the best purchases. You will save on buying makeup wipes every time, and it really helps to erase everything so well with just a little bit of water. So I just wetted it and going to start cleaning up the inner corner and then the outer corner like so, just to make sure if I have any fallout, this can pick up. And I have a clean canvas. And you don't even need any micellar water with this. You can just go in with water and wipe it off. Next, we're gonna go in with primer because my skin is feeling quite moisturized. So I'm just gonna go in with a pore filling primer, and I'm just gonna place it where I have my pore problem areas and on my T-zone. And this one really helps to fill in and mattify the pores. Just like to rub it in really nicely. After I do this, I just like to clean my hand on the makeup wipe again, and gonna use a fan to give the primer a chance to set in my skin. Whenever you put primers, give it a minute before you put on your makeup products so the primer can actually do its work. If you go straight in with your makeup products, there is a little bit of chance that the products you put on top will slip and slide. So that's why I like to use a fan or just give it a minute to settle it. Next, I like to go in with a liquid highlighter. You can totally skip this step. I just like to be a little bit more dewy. So I will just take a little bit on the back of my hand, use a fluffy brush like so, really pick up the product just on the brush, and then go in the high points of my cheek just to give it a little bit of a shine. Because we're gonna go in with the skin tint, so once I do this step, my face will still have that like natural glass skin glow. It will mimic the natural glass skin glow. That's why I like to do this liquid highlighting step. You can use a stick highlighter as well. So I just placed this everywhere that I would usually put a highlighter. So I just put it on the high points of my cheeks, on my tip of my nose, bridge of my nose, cupid's bow, chin, on top of my eyebrows, and where the light would naturally hit. This is where the areas I want to put the liquid highlighter on. After that, because I'm not going to go in with a full coverage foundation, I like to do a little bit of color correcting. I'm using the Sam Cover Perfection, and I'm going to start with using a flat shader brush, going in with this peach color corrector, just picking it up on one side very sparingly because we don't want to go too crazy. And I will start not on right in my inner corner but underneath it, like so, and I will tap it and bring it out. Tap it and bring it out. And while I'm tapping it and bringing it out, I'm also placing the brush higher and higher until it will cover my dark circle. Because it's a pot color corrector, it is going to be more on the drying side. That's why I just like to use a bit, and you can see the difference. This one has covered my dark circles really well. Now this will help me to use less concealer as well and make the makeup seem more effortless and natural. If you have a liquid color corrector, put a dot on your hand and use the brush to go in, then this way you will have more control of how you're putting your corrector as well. Because when you see like people swiping it on the makeup videos in YouTube or Instagram, it is mainly to make the video look so interesting and aesthetic, because that really catches your eye, like someone putting a peach color corrector right under their eye. But that way you're using too much product, and at the end of the day it might look heavy, it might feel heavy as well. So if you're the kind of person that don't like to feel, if you're putting on makeup, you don't like to have the feeling of heavy makeup on your skin, then this is the way to go. I'm also gonna go in with the green color corrector and correct my redness. Now this one will not help to correct my redness fully, but it will try to hide it or minimize it. So I just like to go another flat shader brush, just picked it up on one side, and I will just dot in here and dot and dot. Basically dot all the areas that I would like to cover first, and then I'm gonna flip my brush. I'm just gonna tap in circular motions to blend that in. And I didn't pick up any more product. It's just the product that I had on the brush, and it's just blending that in circular motions, cover the redness. And I'm really using, because you want to use a light hand, if you use too close, you might lift up the concealer. So if you use at the end of the brush, then at least you have more control and less pressure to pick up any product. I also have a habit that more I'm doing, the more closer I get to the brush. So always remind yourself, if you don't have time, put down the brush. Use your finger, tap it in circular motions. Whenever you put any kind of concealer on or color corrector on, always give it a minute on your face just with the primer to settle it in so that it won't move before you go in with your next step. For everyday work or school or just a simple get ready with me, I like to use a tint, an SPF tint or just a makeup tint depending on my mood. If I know I'm gonna go out in the sun, I prefer to use an SPF tint, okay? This is not sunscreen. I did wear sunscreen at the end of my skincare routine as well. This is just an extra layer of protection for your skin if you are gonna go out. To do is shake it up, and I will just, because it's a tint, so I will just give this a nice line on my cheeks, because this is where I like to have the most coverage. And then just like so, a little bit for the forehead, not on the nose. I don't really like to put on the nose, so whatever product will be left is what I'm gonna spread it on my nose as well. I like to use any kind of foundation brush. This is a flat top brush. I will go in with a beauty blender if I'm in a rush, but since today I have a little bit of time, so I'm just tapping it in. I'm not swiping it, because if I swipe, I will create streak lines of the brushes, and I will pick up any of the color correcting work that I've done. So I just use that swipe to cover my whole entire cheek, and I just go over and over it again until the desired coverage, and then whatever is left on the brush, I bring it on the chin, on my jawline, on my temples, on my cupid bow, above my lip, towards my nose, like so. Finally, on the forehead. So how I like to cover this up is I like to use another pot concealer. This is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Medium Dark 1 Biscuit. And for this one, what I like to do is I like to go in with a dome brush, and I will just pick a little bit because this one is very pigmented. A little goes a long way. So what I'm going to do, I just picked it up a little bit, and using the end of the brush, and I will just show you the magic of this. Just tap it lightly in circular motions, and you will see slowly it disappearing. Just whatever is left on the brush, or not left on the brush, I think I need a little bit more coverage. Again, just taking just a slight dip, like barely touching, not because of scarcity mindset, it's because I just want the most tiniest amount of coverage. Next, what I like to do is go in with a liquid blush. I love my powders, but recently I've been loving liquid blush. What started my obsession of using this liquid blushes is this little guy right here. This is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewy Flush, and it is so pretty that I finished it. I mean, there's a very bit left, but it's so pretty and natural. I mean, it's a bit left, but I don't think it's enough for my whole face, so I'm just gonna, and I'm not the kind of person to take out the stopper and do something about it. So what I like to do is shake up the liquid blush. This is the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush in the shade Happy. And for what I like to do is, instead of just dotting it on the face, which is a little bit too intense for me, I like to go at the back of my hand, or you can go on a plate. I used to go on a plate, but my plate is kind of dirty right now and I haven't cleaned it. So that's why I'm going on the back of my hand. And then I like to use another type of flat top brush, and this is angled, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime the brush with the liquid blush. So priming the blush, it means I'm just making sure my brush is getting all of the product in there. So when I put it on my skin, because this is a very potent pigmented blush, when I put it on my skin, it can look a little bit more natural. So what I like to do is, instead of putting blush right here on the apples of my cheeks, I like to go a little bit higher, right above, right on top of my cheekbone, and a little bit below that. So between where I would put my contour or my bronzer and my highlighter, that is where I'm gonna put the blush. And I just like to hold it at the end of the brush and tap it in, and you can see there is blush there, and it's not too much. And then go in again on the other side, just doing light circular taps. I'm just going on the tip of my nose, at the bottom of my chin, a little bit on the sides of my forehead. Now going in with the concealer. This is the Huda Beauty Full Filter Luminous Matte Concealer in the shade 3.1B Vanilla Swirl. And this concealer is really good. And what I like to do is I like to dot it on my face, but it's just one dot at where my eye bags begin in the inner corner side. So just one dot here and one dot here, and that is it. Because this concealer can really stretch out. So if you do the upside down triangle business with this concealer, you can do it, of course, and it would look really beautiful if you blend it out with a beauty blender. But before I blend out with a beauty blender, I always like to blend that out with a brush, because Again, I like the coverage it gives. So I'm using the same dome brush that I use for the NARS, and I'm just gonna tap that in place first, like so. And you can see that the concealer has been picked up by my brush. I'm just gonna tap it in place, and then I'm stretching it out to underneath my eye bags, and then doing the same technique I did with the color corrector, just tapping it back and forth and going more and more up. Before I powder, I like to use a sponge to really, because you can see everybody has lines, really smooth out that under eye area. Smooth out your wrinkles as much as possible. And we're just gonna lock in our faces now. So what I like to do is use any translucent powder, okay? Any translucent powder. I'm just gonna take a little bit, and I'm using this fluffy dome brush. I'm gonna pick up the powder in there, really going to put it in the brush, tap out the excess. And then what I'm going to do, the side where I picked up the powder, I'm just gonna look down and press it. For the rest of my face, I'm also gonna set it using the same technique, big up brush, dip into the powder, really get the powder in my brush, tap out the excess, and holding the end of the brush, light hand, and just setting it. Just picking up the loose powder. This is the ColourPop No Filter Loose Setting Powder. I don't think you can get this anymore. Use any of your favorite loose powders or use a pressed powder. But I'm gonna bake now, so for baking, loose powder is necessary. You can also bake with pressed powders, but it will look a little bit more heavier. Just gonna use a powder puff. Gonna pick it up. For brushes, I really care about making sure the brushes is coated evenly, but for powder puffs, I don't care. I'm just gonna make it even on my skin. So I'm like to do it on the side of my nose, bringing it up and down, and then going right underneath my eye. And what I'm doing is I'm tapping the powder in. Tapping the powder in, and whatever excess I picked up on the powder is just gonna smooth itself out. And then going on the bridge of my nose, on my chin, reverse contour kind of thing. I like to do my under eye shadow, and for under eye shadow, I'm really quick and easy about it, and I like shimmer. So remember the shimmer we used on this area, this dark brown shimmer, that is what we're going to do. If you don't like shimmer under your eyes, go in with the brown shade, okay? But I do, so I'm just gonna pick it up on a bullet kind of brush. I'm just gonna tap as close to my under eyelash as possible. Next, I like to go in with a powder bronzer, and I'm using this palette for now. Physicians Formula Butter Collection X Wiley Home. They don't sell this anymore, but if you have a chance to get the Physicians Formula palette, I would say get it because it's at a good deal. You get 6 powders that are very pigmented. The only sad thing about it is that their highlighters are so softly pressed that if you just if you accidentally drop it anywhere, it will crack. So you need to be very gentle with these palettes. So they're not quite travel friendly. So I'm using this Wet n Wild brush, slanted brush. I really like using this kind of brush for, I think it's a blush brush, but I use it for bronzer. And I'm gonna go in with this Muru Muru. This is, you can still get this one separately, just the bronzer. These 2 bronzers, I don't think you can get these blushes. They are a limited edition, but these 2 separately sold. This is the one I hit pan on, is the one I'm trying to finish, is the Muru Muru butter bronzer in the shape Deep Bronze, and it's a little bit dark for me, but that's why I'm using sparingly. Despite using it sparingly, I still managed to hit pan, so yay for me. I'm just like to go in with one dip. Can you see where the bake line and my blush are meeting? This is the area I'm gonna start putting the bronzer. So I like to start right up my hairline in circular motions, just softly patting in the bronzer and just make the circles bigger and bigger. Go in with another dip, very light dip, and just start blending it upwards and downwards. Just start blending it basically. So first I like to blend up, and then I like to blend along my bake line. And you just hit your jawline. Take a little bit more, and just for your forehead, because we didn't have a lot of product there anyway, so the forehead you can also do some blending motions. Whatever is left on the brush, on the bridge of your nose. To top up my blush, I still like to go in with a powder blush, and I'm using this Real Techniques 302 brush. I don't know if you can get this, but if you can get a Real Techniques blush brush in this shape, so it's thin and then it's very fluffy. Okay, so if you can get a shape like this in Real Techniques, I would say it will be a very good purchase, because this shape is so nice for putting on blushes. The only thing is don't swipe with it, tap with this. I'm trying to finish this blush, so I'm just gonna pick it up on one side of the brush, and I'm just gonna tap it on the high points of my cheeks. I just like to take a little bit on the tip of my nose, tip of my chin, sides of my forehead as well, just a bit. For highlighter, as I mentioned, I'm still trying to finish this, so I'm going to, you can see day by day the circle is getting bigger and bigger. So I'm going to use this Eco Tools accent shadow brush, and this one I'm gonna use to highlight the inner corner of my eyes, and you can see it immediately opens up your eye and gives it a little bit of a twinkle. And then just gonna hit where my pupils would be, so just in the center of my eye, so this line, and it just makes a little bit of a difference where it makes your eyes a little bit more pop. After that, I like to use this highlighting brush from Morphe. If you know this gold brush, you know. Okay, and then just hit the high points of my cheeks. I am still a 2016 glow girl. Look at that shine. Know that it finally, not finally, you thought, okay. I like to use the same big fluffy brush that we use to set our faces with, and I'm just gonna go in circular motions and dust off the bake. After I blend it out, I'm going to use this palette. If you know, you know. I would say dupe for this one is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake press powders. So once I'm done with those, gonna get the other ones. Okay, I like to use the pink one on this small fluffy brush that I use to set my under eye, and just place it underneath my eye for extra shine. And I also like to bring it out and see, ooh, the brightening. You can use any pink or yellow powders. So pink I mainly use for the under eyes, and then yellow is the one that I go all over the other areas that I put the bake. And I also go with the yellow on the center of my forehead. The setting spray I'm using now is the Makeup Revolution Super Fix Super Hold Misting Spray. It's a good setting spray. It's not the best setting spray, I would say. I mean, it does make your makeup last long. About it being a matte finish, Not really, because throughout the day it will give you a glowy finish, but remember to keep it away from your eyes. Like hide your eyes when you do misting your forehead, and then hide your eyes when you're misting your face, and always keep it at an arm's length. After that, I like to tightline my waterline, and then I'm using this Faces Canada Eyes Magnet Kajal in black. I don't think you can get this in Hong Kong. I got this in India. And then I just like to tightline my upper waterline. If you're going to put mascara on and you want the mascara to have such a nice effect, always remember to curl your lashes. Otherwise, your lashes will still look great, but curling it just gives it a fighting chance. The mascara that I'm using right now is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes in the shade Super Black. The only thing I'm going to say is the most accurate thing about this is that it is super black. Now I'm gonna go in with the Sephora Shape and Set Clear Brow Gel. I love this. I love this so much that I have backup of it. And then I can't think of any other brow gel because this one is inexpensive. I mean, it's not that inexpensive, but it is pretty inexpensive and it holds super well. It is clear. I really love a clear brow gel. I don't really like a colored one, especially now that I'm going for a more fuller brow look. So I appreciate a clear brow gel, and this is the best you can buy. It stays the whole day. The only thing about this is if you put too much, there's gonna be like a waxy white residue on it, so just be careful about that. But other than that, I like this more than the Benefit one. Time for lipstick. Now for lipstick, what I'm going to do is, because it's a work day, I'm gonna do a nude kind of lipstick. I'm using this Sephora lip liner. I'm just gonna sharpen a bit just so that when I put it on my lips it doesn't hurt it. I'm not really the girls who sharp it until it's a sharp pencil. That kind of scares me. I still like my lip liner a little bit blunt. So, oh yes, I was talking about this is a Sephora lip liner to go in the shade 17 light brown. And I use this to overline my lips just a bit, so not too much. I just follow my natural lip shape and I just draw on it. So whatever is getting overlined is getting overlined. And then I'm gonna go in with this lipstick. This is the Velvet Liquid Lipstick by Kylie Jenner in the shade Birthday Suit. This is one of the lipsticks I'm trying to pan because I don't like the color, and I'm just going to put it everywhere. So I just like to put it mainly on the areas that I didn't put any lip liner, and then just use my finger to spread it out. Just a little bit of gloss. When I say a little bit of gloss, it means Makeup Revolution Pout Bomb Pumping Lip Gloss in the shade Glaze. It used to be transparent. It's just because I use it for all of my nude lip combos, and on days where I'm just doing a natural lip that it's this color. Okay, so I just put lip gloss on top of my Cupid's bow and just in the center of my lower lip. So once again, I just want to say thank you for watching. I'll do another video on how you can wear pink color or peach color on your eyes on like a work day or a school day, okay, to just in the same technique, okay? So I will do that as well in the future. But if you have any other requests, please comment below. If you liked this video and you learned something, like this video, share it with a friend, okay? and I will see you in my next one. Thanks for watching and have a good one. Bye.